Hello, hello. How is everyone doing? Hope you're well. It is technically a Jupiter day, Mercury night. It's Thursday, the 14th at 12:23 a.m. and it's Mars hour, and just sneaks up on you these celestial events. So I just wanted to mention a couple things about the new moon. I just wanted to mention a couple things about the full moon in Taurus on the 15th at 1:27 p.m. So on Friday, on Venus Day, we have a full moon in Taurus, and there's a lot going on with this full moon. It's not your typical full moon in Taurus. It's happening at 24 degrees, like to the nose, to the minute, 24 degrees and 0 minutes. And so the moon is going to be in Taurus and the sun is going to be in Scorpio. And we also have a handful of other co-occurring placements that will be aspected, will be touching this full moon. One of them is the conjunction to Uranus in Taurus. Uranus will be at 25 degrees and it's currently retrograde, and Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, is retrograde. Did I just say that? So Uranus is retrograde and is the ruler of Aquarius. And Uranus is the, sudden, Uranus is the planet of sudden awakenings, unexpected events, surprise endings, surprise beginnings. Some people call Uranus the cosmic adjuster. And let's see, what else is going on? Like, the nice thing about this is the ruler of Taurus is Venus. Venus is now in Capricorn. Venus moved into Capricorn on Monday, the 11th, 11/11. And so there is more of a seriousness to the energies. And the nice thing is that, there is this harmony, because Capricorn is an earth sign and Taurus is an earth sign, and they are both trying to build something tangible together. And there's and the ruler of Capricorn is Saturn, and Saturn is currently in Pisces. And right before this full moon in Taurus is when Saturn goes direct. It's been retrograde since about June. And it goes direct around 6:30 in the morning, and in the sign of Pisces, which is an emotional sign. There's a lot of things that is associated with Pisces: emotionality, spirituality, and anything that has to do with the ethereal. It's very nebulous energy. Illusions also, fantasy, film. And on the lower end, it could be like lies, delusions. And the energy of Saturn is, generally speaking, is restrictive. It's the ruler of Capricorn, so it deals with maturity. What did I say? Responsibility. So with Saturn in the sign of Pisces, this is a lesson. Like, Saturn is like the father of the zodiac that like gives you lessons to learn. And in the sign of Pisces, these are lessons in emotional maturity, responsibility, and emotional restriction. And so with Saturn going direct just before the full moon, I feel like this is a signal to really come with the emotional maturity to be able to handle all the changes, the big changes, the sudden unexpected changes that we are about to face with this full moon conjunct Uranus. And all these unexpected events can be a shock to the system. And so, as long as we've had these grounding practices, these spiritual practices in place, which is what Saturn in Pisces really wants us to, one of the things that Saturn in Pisces wants us to learn is how to stay grounded, how to stay not pulled into such extreme spectrums of emotion. And in the sign of Pisces, we're moving out of the era, the age of Pisces, the age of illusion. And with these illusions in Pisces are meant to like pull our heartstrings. You can think of the whole like Mad Men, the marketing, advertising. The advertising industry has always been this game of, you know, how to pull the heartstrings of an audience, like how to just get them in the heart to, you know, buy this thing, you know, like selling a lifestyle as, say, smoking cigarettes as a lifestyle, and selling cigarettes as, you know, being cool. And, you know, back in the 20s, I believe it was like selling cigarettes to an audience of women as a form of rebellion and independence, you know, like that kind of like emotion and connection. And but we're moving out of that. We're like not falling for it, because it's gone to this extreme now where it's such a, like, pardon my French, but it's been a mind fuck, because it's like there's so much comparison, and if you don't have this thing, then you'll be shamed kind of approach or technique or tactic or strategy to a lot of these advertisements, to these material things, you know, like you see it all over the place, fashion magazines, billboards, you know, you have a sexy skinny model and they're getting this attention from this other sexy skinny model, and, you know, they sell it as something that we should be, that's something that we should aspire to. But now that Saturn is going direct, we're going to see these ploys a lot more clearly with a lot better discernment. But Neptune is still at the last degree of Pisces, and the last degrees of a sign is like the most extreme expression of that sign, good or bad, you know, like high vibration, high frequency, or low. And we can see this play out in the way AI is being used to trick us, or, you know, have us believe that XYZ is happening when it's just a green screen, or you know, it could be anything, any kind of fakery, film, illusion. And Pluto is also aspecting Neptune in Pisces, and so there's this creative opportunity to see through the bullshit, pardon my French, but like to really dig deep and accept that, you know, what we're seeing is not, to really look deep and see that what is being presented to us is not the actual truth. And, you know, on the flip side, there's also that creative opportunity to attempt to pull the wool over someone's eyes, to like be deceptive, you know, like that's also that that energy between Pluto and Neptune, because there's highs and low expressions of every aspect, every placement in astrology. But with the trying to the full moon in Taurus with Uranus, we're going to be able to shake out, and like really those illusions will shatter. So this is like a big shattering of illusions, is kind of like how I see this. And Saturn in Pisces is also with Pluto in Capricorn, like Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn and Pluto being at the last degree of Capricorn. There's still that last gasp, that last ditch effort for people in like the authorities to pull some sort of shenanigan where they're trying to see if it still works, or if they can, you know, get away with what they've been getting away with for way too long now. But Uranus is going to like reveal a lot of truths and bring them to their knees, I guess you could say. That's kind of like what I'm thinking, because, you know, it's like a no, like a big no to these lower expressions of how Pluto and Capricorn have been operating. So Uranus is going to liberate what has been suppressed, and what has been suppressed has been going on for a long time, and we've kind of gotten used to this way of living. And with this liberation, it's going to be unexpected for a lot of us, and it can be a shock and it can be disruptive, but it's going to right what has been wrong. And it can be pretty jarring. So, you just, again, want to make sure that we have those grounding practices and making sure that we're not being pulled into the screen, being pulled into whatever headline that's running across the screen, and really connect to what is real, what is outside, like nature is what I mean. Like, something that is outside in nature is actually connected to our inner world. So if we connect to nature, we're connecting to our inner world. If we're looking at the birds and paying attention to how the trees are blowing, just like really connecting with how Mother Nature is paying attention to you. Like, when you pay attention to the universe pays attention to you. Like, you're able to see so much more beauty and what life, the beautiful things that life has to offer, instead of what's being projected on the screen, which is pulling us, pulling everything away from our joy, our creativity. And that's another thing, another way to stay grounded, is staying in your joy, being, doing something creative, being in that zone of creativity. I mean, it can even be cleaning. It'll like put you just, in this state of almost like thoughtlessness. It is a form of meditation. Meditation is another good way to stay grounded during this full moon. Of course, absolutely. Like, especially with Uranus in the mix, like, you can receive unexpected, sudden insight. Like, I look at Uranus as a satellite dish, or like a satellite antenna, where Uranus can like pull some universal messages and bring them down to you if you're open to receive. So that is one way I'm going to be using this energy. And it's at 1:27 in the afternoon, so you'll see this full moon physically like the night before, of course, but as far as like the exactitude of the sun and the moon in opposition, as far as the degrees, that happens at 1:27 p.m. And another thing about the full moon, what was the other thing? We also have several mutual receptions. And so with the sun in Scorpio, the sun is in Scorpio, and the ruler of Scorpio, the traditional ruler of Scorpio, is Mars, and Mars is in Leo, and the ruler of Leo is the sun. And so the way I see mutual receptions is like they've received cliff notes on the other person's sign. So like Mars is in the sun's sign, and the sun is in Mars' sign. So like Mars rules Scorpio and the sun rules Leo, and so they've kind of traded places, but they know what's going on with where they're staying. It's kind of like, staying at an Airbnb, and you get the you get the notes, and like where everything is and how to turn things on and what not to do. And it's like getting those notes when you're staying at someone else. And like these Mars and Leo have gotten the notes for Leo and Scorpio, and that's going to help out because it just gives us a lot more confidence in the decisions that we're making. So with this full moon, the moon in Taurus opposite the sun in Scorpio, which is in a mutual reception to Mars and Leo, Mars and Leo is taking that inspired action to be creative and express ourselves, and the sun in Scorpio is do this, like, don't be afraid to go deep, like Scorpio likes to go deep. And then with the sun in Scorpio, it's really shining light and illuminating what we need to know. Like, this is time to really go deep and like pull away those curtains and like lift that veil and see what is really going on. And if you are a Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, then these are going to affect you. And Mars is in at 3 degrees. So as far as like an actual angle, it's not like a T-square, but it is like squared by side. And another mutual reception that I noticed And another mutual reception that is happening is the Mercury in Sagittarius and Jupiter in Gemini opposition. So, mutual receptions can happen in any signs, whether it's, a fixed sign like Scorpio and Leo, or oppositions, which are Sagittarius and Gemini are mutable signs. But in Sagittarius and Gemini, Mercury is in Gemini sign and Jupiter is in Sagittarius sign. And Jupiter is currently retrograde and Mercury is in its shadow. But yeah, so they've also exchanged notes on one another's, proclivities, I guess you could say. And this particular upcoming Mercury retrograde, I feel like is this particular retrograde, I feel like is an invitation for us to practice those forms of writing, because in Sagittarius is connected to publications, writing as well, learning, travel for sure. Traveling can be a little frustrating at this time because there can be a lot of missed details because of the Mercury retrograde. But as far as like documents and writing your book, possibly, it also has to do with justice. The sign of Sagittarius has to do with, Libra as well, but like Sagittarius is like also connected to justice in a way that it has to do with kind of like with contracts and litigation, courts. So we can expect to do things twice. And with Jupiter in Gemini opposing Mercury in Sag, and they're both, Jupiter's retrograde and Mercury is in its shadow. So we can expect to do things over, but with this particular aspect, I feel like this is going to be lessons that will help us practice what we are trying to accomplish, and it can be very tedious. This is like a straight up learning lesson in formulating documents and using your words and using a different language to really communicate your thoughts and ideas, and or mirror the person, people, or entities that you are in communication with, or that you are you're in some sort of dispute, or whatever it is that you're trying to settle. This is going to be a constant practice run for the next 2.5 months or so, because Mercury is going to retrograde in December for 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and then there's still a shadow period that doesn't clear until I think around beginning or mid-January. So there's a handful of these mutual receptions that let us have more ease with the decisions that we are making. And then Taurus, stay on the 16th. The Sun is going to oppose Uranus, and that's going to be an even louder expression of this unexpected energy of Uranus, like unexpected events, information in regard to money, stability, finances. Taurus is Venus related, which is also relationships, aesthetic, food systems, the way we access food, the way we grow our food, the way we cook our food. Other thing is 24, which is the degree of the full moon, is a Pisces degree, so that is another expression of the illusions that we can be faced with, or that can be involved. Could be a breaking of these illusions. Is we've been believing for a while that we are realizing now is not the complete truth. Make these to expect the unexpected, and you never know, you could be pleasantly surprised. most productive. Assumptions isn't the most productive use of our energy at this time. Like we can't, we have to just stay in that observe, not absorb kind of mentality. You know, like we have to. That's another thing that Saturn in Pisces is teaching us, is to use our discernment to determine whether something is, you know, true or not. Like if we are in tune with our intuition and we can like pick up on, you know, the most subtlest of clues, then we can decide whether we want to put our attention to it or not. You know, like we have to really just protect our energy right now, protect your peace. And like there's a threshold that everyone can or can't handle, where, you know, if they're being pulled out of their creativity, their joy, their, you know, their zone, and they know that like whatever is pulling them out is not, it's not worth it, then there is no shame in putting a hand to it and just, you know, not giving it your energy. Like when you feel like it, you can, you know, address it in a lighthearted kind of like curious manner, but don't allow your energy to be twisted and misused, you know, because your energy is precious, especially right now. Like things are fragile, and you know, we've worked so hard to get to this point where, you know, we are on this like upswing internally. You know, we have the responsibility to maintain and hold that frequency. So letting external forces pull us out of that, like sets us back, you know, like 3-5 steps, you know. So we want to maintain the frequency that keeps us up and keeps the collective up and out of this spiral. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully this recording was audible enough in time. It's out in time. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a good full moon in Taurus. Enjoy the full moon. Like, it's meant to be enjoyed. You could be pleasantly surprised. You know, one other way to kind of ground is find out what sign your moon is in. So you have your sun sign, which is like, you know, when the day that you were born. That's, you know, like mine is March 16th. That's my, you know, I'm Pisces, that's my sun sign. A moon sign and a moon sign, but you need your time of birth to figure those out. And you can go to Astro-Seek is the one that I like to go to. Cafe Astrology is also a good one. I used to use that as my Bible. Time of birth, to sign, and do your moon sign. That's not your moon sign. That's a way to, you know, really regulate yourself. And like if you do that on a regular basis, in healthy ways, you know, like ways that are not so addictive, ways, moderation. But particularly with this full moon in Taurus, because it is connected to Uranus, doing your moon sign is a good way to stay grounded and regulate your emotions. Then if you are an Aries moon, then sweat it out, like work out, or, you know, lift some weights, go for a run. Taurus, you know, you can, there's a number of things for Taurus. You can, you know, be in the garden, plant, put your hands in the dirt, massage. You can get a massage, anything that satisfies your 5 senses. It's always a good go-to for Taurus. Let's see, can I go through all 12 signs? Gemini, read a book, call a friend, phone a friend, have a chat. Cancer, yeah, that's another one. Cook, feed someone, no, I can't go through all 12 signs. I mean, I do have a list of types by sign. Regulate your emotional sources out there. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that was helpful. Again, thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you on the next one. Alright, have a good full moon. Take care.